how great leaders navigate times of crisis. And I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to go through 5 specific tactics. You definitely want to watch these and learn about them right to the end. Remember, great leaders are great learners. Great leaders are great learners. Right now, a lot of people are concerned about joblessness. One of the things I would invite you to ask yourself is, how can I deliver so much value to my organization and to my marketplace that I become indispensable not only to my organization, but to the marketplace? So, 5 tactics to be a great leader in deep crisis. Number 1, go macro. What do I mean by go macro? Well, in difficult times, it's very easy to miss the forest for the trees. It's very easy to become so granular, so invested in the news, so frightened about what's going on every day that you fail to rise to the mountaintop and ask yourself, what's really going on here? And so point number 1, go macro. It's also about being strategic or being a philosopher. Right now, with so much noise, so much stress, so much difficulty, so much bad news, so much toxicity, you definitely want to pull back from the noise and make the time to reflect. You want to read some books about perhaps how economies have worked for hundreds of years, perhaps how great leaders have navigated hard times. You want to read some books about perspective on life. What is life about? The seasons, the good times, the bad times. So tactic number 1 in this time of the coronavirus pandemic and the associated lockdown and the associated economic volatility from a world being in lockdown for 6 months, go macro. Ask yourself this question: what's going on here? And then deconstruct it in terms of the pandemic, in terms of the global economy, in terms of your national economy, in terms of what job loss and social unrest will mean for you, your family, your career, your business. Number 2, once you have deconstructed what is going on, be prescient. It's a new word I've been playing with. It's not my word, of course, but as I understand it, to be prescient means to see the future. Steve Jobs was prescient. He didn't do study groups and consumer studies on what products Apple should do. No, he said, or asked himself, what do I think our people, our customers need? And then he offered that to people. I watched a video from last night, and he said, we weren't really worried about the technology first. We were worried about the user experience first. And then we worked backward to deliver the user experience. In other words, the product that people wanted, and then we figured out what the technology had to be. That's very different from a lot of tech companies where they basically say, oh, we've got some great technology. Now let's figure out how we can build a product around it based on the great technology. So tactic number 2, be prescient. Once you crunch the data, once you read valuable news, once you study the great books, once you listen to the videos of the people who know what they're talking about, whether it's about the coronavirus, whether it's about the economy, whether it's about productivity, whether it's about entrepreneurship in times of crisis. Once you have gone macro, tactic number 1, tactic number 2 is ask yourself this question: where's it all going? Where's it all going? So I've actually built out a 4-step system for you. And it's a series of 4 questions. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are a leader, if you are a human being, take some time as soon as I finish to go through this 4-question protocol. Trust me, it'll be so valuable. You can do it. I'm still a lawyer at heart, I guess. I do it on my yellow pages. 4 questions. Number 1, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening in the world right now? What's happening with the second rounds of, what do they call them? Second waves of coronavirus. What's happening with the global economy? What's happening with the central banks? What's happening with unemployment? What's happening to small businesses? Question number one, what's happening? Question number two, great question I propose to you. What are the threats and vulnerabilities? What are your threats and vulnerabilities? I work with heavyweight entrepreneurs most of the time. One of the things I'm asking them to do is ask, what are your threats and your vulnerabilities? Because with better, remember the 5 a.m. club, the 3-step success formula, with better awareness of your threats and vulnerabilities, you can make better choices, which are going to give you better results. So you don't want to be like a sheep. You don't want to be asleep. I received a DM from a good soul yesterday saying, Robin, when you talk about the economy, it makes me scared. Please don't talk about the economy or where you think things are going to go. And her words were, it's super irresponsible for you to do that. And I politely replied, I believe it's very responsible for me to speak honestly. I don't ever want to be a sugary type of, content creator or whatever. I mean, I care about everyone who follows me. And so I must speak my truth as honestly as possible. And if it scares someone, because we are in a scary time, then forgive me, but that's not on me. Work through your fear. Battle-proof yourself to get stronger versus looking for people who offer you sugary hope. Do I offer hope? Absolutely. Will this get better? Absolutely. Are better times ahead? Absolutely. Is this a time of incredible opportunity for your creativity and productivity? Absolutely. But I also want to offer honesty at all times. Hopefully that's helpful. So this 4-step protocol, what's happening right now? Number 2, what are your threats and vulnerabilities? Get really clear on your threats and your vulnerabilities. Number 3, what are your pivots and your protections? What are your pivots and your protections? You want to do some scenario planning for your business, for your family, for your life, so that you have your protections in place. Number 4, what are your opportunities? Do a list of all of the opportunities right now to serve more people, to create astonishing value for your marketplace, to build a fantastic team, or to lean out your business, or to get really fit, or to use the next few months as a laboratory on personal mastery. Tactic number 3. If you are scared right now, if you are depleted right now, if you are craving pizza every night right now, if you don't think there is a brighter future ahead right now, what's the antidote? Get stronger. For the people who are terrified right now, ducking their heads in the sand and saying, I wish this would all go away. And I say this with great respect, but the solution is not to duck your head in the sand. The solution is to grow stronger as an entrepreneur, as a leader, and as a human being. We are built to grow. We are built to change. That's what neuroplasticity is all about. How do you grow stronger as a leader, as an entrepreneur, so that your confidence rises, so your energy rises, so your hope rises, so your execution ability rises? Well, it goes in large part to your morning routine. In large part to your morning routine. That 1 hour of the day, and if you're interested in it, if you're not interested in it, no sweat. If you're interested in it, definitely read the 5 a.m. Club. Listen to the audiobook. Do it today. That's what it's about. It's the morning routine that I've taught to many of the world's most successful leaders to battle-proof their mindsets, heart sets, health sets, and soul sets. The antidote to fear is strengthening your inner core. And there's 4 interior empires that I teach in the 5 AM Club: mindset, heart set, health set, soul set. Your mindset is your psychology. Your heart set is your emotionality. Your health set is your physicality. Your soul set is your spirituality. Once at 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., what I call in the book the victory hour, when you do the tactics I teach in the book to battle-proof your inner core, then you go out into the world operating from an interior position of power versus being dependent on what's going on in the world. The great spiritual masters, for example, were so strong in terms of their internal foundation of power that they went out in the world, even if they were in Robin Island, even if they were in a war zone, they remain strong. I think of Winston Churchill, May 10, 1940, when he became prime minister. That was his finest hour, because though the world was falling apart in World War II, he rose in his heroism. I guess what I'm suggesting to you is to be a great leader in times of deep crisis is an inside job more than an outside game. So, let me summarize so far. Tactic number 1, go macro. Don't get caught up in the daily stresses, trivialities. Go up to the top of the mountain and survey what's going on in your marketplace, what's going on in the world. Be very thoughtful right now. Be a contrarian, right? The people I study and believe in are contrarians. You do not want to think like most people are thinking. You want to be very thoughtful. You don't want to be a superficial thinker. You want to go granular. You want to be very rigorous and really spend a lot of time right now thinking through, where is my marketplace going? Where should I take my business? Where should I take my life? Where should I take my lifestyle? So tactic number 1 was go macro. Tactic number 2 was to be prescient. Don't worry about where things are today. Worry about where things are going. Who was it that said, the best way to predict the future is to create it? If you're one of the millions of entrepreneurs who follow me, please remember this is an incredible time to build an even greater business, to serve even more people, to deliver even more value to the marketplace that helps more people. This is a fantastic time to be exponentially creative. It's a remarkable time to disrupt your industry and to bring astonishing value that no one else is bringing. Most entrepreneurs are contracting right now. A lot of entrepreneurs are blaming right now. The best entrepreneurs are asking themselves, what value or poetry, I call it poetry or artistry, what artistry must I bring to the world right now that people most need? You know, I'm working on my new book right now. I've been working on it for 4 months. 6 months. February, March, April, May, June, July. I guess this is my 7th month of living, breathing. That's along with being with my family and protecting my mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set in lockdown. I have been deeply working on this new book, on this manuscript, and all this quietude because I'm not traveling. I'm not doing keynote speeches. I'm not, out there with my team doing video shoots. I have been living and breathing the new book. And one of the big questions I'm asking, there's a few questions I'm asking before I start writing every morning. And one of them is, I pray to Spirit. I pray to the force that runs the world. Call it possibility, call it God, call it the universe. But I pray, how may I best serve through this manuscript? And so I pray for guidance to write the words and to offer the insights that will be most of use to as many people as possible in this time of great uncertainty and deep volatility. And then I ask myself before I start writing each session, or almost every session, I asked myself, how can this new book be so valuable to people that it's just like astonishing value for $20 or $30? So all I'm trying to say to you right now is this is a time of incredible opportunity. People are in need. We must serve. And the best entrepreneurs are asking themselves, what are the problems people are most struggling with, and how can I provide solutions in my business to serve those needs? So tactic number 3 is battle-proof your 4 interior empires. If you're afraid right now, if you don't have any energy, if you can't get out of bed, if you think it's all falling apart, work on yourself so you fortify your interior heroism. Don't blame the world. Don't blame the economy. Don't blame the coronavirus. That's giving away your heroic power to build an even better life right now. I think that's a really important point. Every time you complain, blame, give away your power to the coronavirus, to the economy, you're becoming more powerless. You have power because you are human. So the antidote to fear is self-mastery work. And if you were to ask me, when's the best time to do it? Of course, 5 a.m. Why do you think the saints and the titans and the warriors and the great poets and the great sages got up before the sun? There's no distraction. It's quiet. Your brain is fresh. Your heart is open. You read a book on philosophy. It goes deeper because you are more present, more available. Tactic number 4, build agility. The way business was in March of 2020 is the way business was. Kansas, I think this is Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, but Kansas has gone bye-bye. And so, forgive me, I don't mean to scare anyone, but my job is to tell the truth. And if it scares you, work on becoming less scared versus shooting the messenger who cares about you. I'm not going to just give you sugary hope. Am I going to give you hope? Absolutely. But I want to tell it like it is versus giving you false hope. And I don't think the world is going to be the way it was in February of 2020. I think there's a fundamental restructuring going on with humanity, with society, with the economy, and spiritually. There is a great restructuring and a great awakening happening on the planet. And ultimately, the universe knows what she's doing. We are being taken to a better place. Blazingly bright dawns always follow the deepest darkness of the night. So we're being taken to a better place, and we're being strengthened, and we're being purified as a planet, as a society, and as human beings. And the process is scary and it's tough. That's why the mystics call it the dark night of the soul. So rather than resisting it all, tactic number 4, embrace it. Our discomfort carries our growth. By resisting it, you're resisting your growth. May we be agile. Here's a great question you can ask yourself. How can I learn to love the pain? How can I learn to roll with the discomfort? If you are an entrepreneur, how can I stop resisting what is and become more adaptive and use and leverage the mess and storms to build a faster, more agile, more innovative, more profitable, more high-impact company versus, why is it all falling apart? And I wish things were the way they were. The great leaders of business, the titans who I have mentored for 24 years, are not sitting back right now. They are rolling up their sleeves and building even better shops, building even better teams, or leaning out their teams to build more efficiency, cutting costs, improving their products, being more imaginative. I hope this is helping you. Tactic number 5. Use this time in lockdown. And then when I mentioned it yesterday in the Instagram Live, and people said, our economies are opening up. I understand that, but there are also re-lockdowns happening. Look at Australia, for example. Look at America, for example. So we are not out of this at all. And some people are saying the coronavirus will be with us for a long time. Look, I hope, the Oxford trial was very optimistic. It looks like we're close to a vaccine. I hope we have a vaccine by the end of the year or next year, early next year. Fantastic. I'm a hopefulist. I'm a possibilitarian. Great. But I also am a realist. And please don't shoot the messenger for being real and honest. I hope for a vaccine soon, but it's possible we might not have one for a couple of years. It's possible. So wouldn't you want to know that that is possible, and then to battle-proof your business, protect your family, fortify your health, and create a lifestyle where you navigate the change that's coming? And that's what I'm doing with the people in my online mentoring program called the Circle of Legends. That's what I'm doing with my highest level people that I coach in Icon X. That's what I'm trying to do for the people who I mentor. Why did I come on to Instagram Live today? I want to remind you about these things. You want to hope for the best. You want to prepare for the worst. Isn't that what any good leader does, or any sane human being? So tactic number 5 is use this time in lockdown, whether it ends tomorrow, which it won't, as an artistic sabbatical. Use this time in enforced quietude to read hundreds of books or audiobooks. Use this time as Thoreau's book Walden, where he spent, I believe, a year by a pond in Massachusetts in contemplation. And so metaphorically speaking, use this as your time in Walden. Read hundreds of books. Watch intelligent videos. Keep a journal where you detect and start to deconstruct your business, new products, new ways of living. Deconstruct what's happening in the world right now. Deconstruct the global economy. Deconstruct how some leaders are rising and some leaders are falling apart. Deconstruct where humanity's going. Deconstruct at 5 a.m. while the rest of the world is asleep. How you want to live the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life. Deconstruct the human being you want to be in hot pursuit for a better world, while everyone else is escaping right now through the medication of digital diversion, which is only creating digital dementia. Whew. Yes, I'm in a fiery mood today on this Instagram Live with you, because I'm so passionate to serve. This is the time when leaders emerge. This is a time where you get to show us your heroism. This is a time where you get to dial in your nutrition, your hydration, your physical fitness, your spiritual hardiness. It was easy to serve the world when things were easy. How do you show up now? Okay, so the 5 tactics were: go macro, be prescient, battle-proof your 4 interior empires, increase agility so that you become comfortable being uncomfortable, so that you roll with the volatility. As a leader, as an entrepreneur, you leverage it to your advantage. Like, what's that martial art? It's Isn't it jujitsu? Which is all about adapting and using the other person's force. Oh, look, one of the best examples I know of, Bruce Lee. Be like water. Be like water. That's what tactic number 4 is. Be agile. Okay, it's a hard season on the planet. You have magic inside of you, and that is not some kind of a platitude, because I'm not in the business of platitudes. I'm in the business of hopefully offering noble, timeless, powerful leadership truths. You have magic in you. You might have disowned it. You might not remember it. You might not have access to it, but you do have magic within you. When you were a little kid, you stood in the wonder of a life richly lived. But as we get older, we numb out. We forget to feel. We lose our laughter. I look around the world right now, and a lot of people are cyber zombies. They're not fully alive. I mean, when you see someone with a sparkle in their eye, someone who laughs, someone who has a great energy, someone who has the creativity of a kid, that is someone fully alive. And so over the weekend, I want to share at least 2 things that happened to me. So, I was in the sunshine and I was near the seashore, and I did a morning soul cycle class, and I took the time to journal, and I just entered Mr. Riley's magic. See, you can access your magic, and everyone has it within them, but most people are not doing the kinds of things required to access the magic, so they don't experience the magic. I love technology. I think it's an incredible servant. I think it's a dangerous God. And if you're addicted to your phone, you're addicted to being busy. If you're always in the world, if you're always producing, if you're always doing meetings, if you're always checking your social feed, then you're not going to allow your psychology, your emotionality, your physicality, and your spirituality to enter the pocket of the magic. And so I journaled, I was in the sunshine, I did a morning soul cycle class, so I sweat. I was around wonderful people who uplifted me, and I felt joy. And so here's what started happening. I was at the pool of the hotel I was at, and I was very open. You see, because often when you're around stress, your heart set contracts. It's a defense mechanism. It's human. When we're scared, we close our hearts. That way we don't get hurt. But when you enter the magic, your heart starts to open. And so I had a conversation with a gentleman who worked at the pool. And I looked him in the eye, and I really listened to him, and I really gave him some caring. And I could sense he felt my caring, and so he opened up, because here's an important point. When you give people great listening, you make them feel safe. And the job of a leader is to make the people around her or him feel safe. And because he felt safe, he said, yeah, I'm doing okay. And I said, you don't really sound like you're doing okay. And he said, well, okay, everything here at the hotel is going really well, but in my personal life, I'm dealing with a situation with my landlord. And here's what I'm dealing with, and it's frustrating me. And I said, of course that would frustrate you. That's your home. And we got into this long conversation, and I just listened to him. And then at the end of it, I offered him some ideas that might help him resolve his situation in a great way. And then he said, thank you so much. And he was unbelievably gracious to me over the coming hours. And I was in California, the place of great Chardonnays. And so what I did was I looked at the menu, and I found a really beautiful bottle of wine from, I think it was the Calistoga area. And when he came back and he said, would you like some lunch or something like that? I said, sure, I'd love a salad and I'd like to do something for you. You see this beautiful bottle of wine on the menu. Would you please add it to my bill, because I want to make this day a much better day for you. And I'd like you to take it home, and you and your wife, because he told me he had this wife from the west coast of Canada. I said, I'd like you both to enjoy this wonderful bottle of wine. And he really was speechless. I almost felt a little selfish because it brought me such joy just to do that for another human being. So that was the first day where I started entering the magic. Second day, on the Saturday, we were walking through the mall in Santa Monica, and there's a sort of a pop-up idea called the Experiment. And you have street musicians, there was an opera singer, there's jugglers, there's places to sit in the sunshine and drink your coffee. I just finished a Soul Cycle class. I was feeling just so alive. The weather was perfect. The vibe was amazing. And we heard this music coming from this street musician. I believe his name is Kwesik. And he was singing a Tracy Chapman song, and then he sang a Coldplay song. Yellow. I think it was Yellow by Coldplay. And then he sang another song, and the way he moved, and people, again, this is the magic. People started gravitating towards us, and all of a sudden, it was just a magical scenario, and there was a little kid dancing, and more people coming, and it's like, we're tribal as human beings, and when we feel the magic, it does bring people together. And I could get into the science of emotional contagion, but I've got into that in the 5 a.m. Club and on previous mastery episodes, but magic continued. And I was really moved. There were tears in my eyes at this moment, just from the music that he was providing and the scene that I was experiencing. But it gets even better, because then we were sitting there, me and my partner, and she was drinking coffee and I was drinking coffee, and we were just laughing. And this homeless gentleman comes up to me, and he just looks at me and he says, how are you? And I said, fine. And we just started chatting, and I looked him in the eye. And I just started listening, and I didn't feel any fear. I tried my best to feel caring, which is love. And I listened to him. And then he said, what do you do? And I said, well, this is what I do, and this. And he goes, oh, okay. And he said, I'm in business. And I said, really? And he pulled out this packaged bottle of lavender. I don't know where he got it from. I don't want to know where he got it from. And then he said, could you buy me something to eat? And I pulled out some money, and I just gave it to him. And he looked at me, and he really looked at me. And I kid you not, he then walked over to me and gave me a very awkward hug, but it was a hug. He just sort of leaned over and gave me this hug, and then he walked away. Hi, it's Robin Sharma, and I really hope you're enjoying this episode of the Mastery Sessions. I'm absolutely delighted that people from across the planet are getting such great results from what I'm doing in the Mastery Sessions. Well, for a long time, we've received so many requests from advertisers to put their ads on the Mastery Sessions, and I have resisted doing so. And yet what I wanted to do very quickly is offer you 2 resources that I absolutely know will create some marvelous shifts and elevations and results in your performance and in your personal life. The first is my book, The 5 a.m. Club. If you have not read it, you really need to know it's one of the best-selling books on the planet right now for a reason. It is transforming the lives of everyday heroes and people who want to make their ascent to world class. Definitely read The 5 a.m. Club. you are going to find it a very special book for your rise to world class. Secondly, for years people have been asking me, Robin, we want you to be our mentor. Robin, we want you to be our coach. We want to learn what you've taught to the billionaires and the NBA superstars and the other professional athletes and the film icons and the titans of industry. Really quickly, all you need to do if you're interested in me becoming your mentor, head over to thecircleoflegends.com. Thecircleoflegends.com. I've created a world-class digital mentoring program where I will work with you each month to help you make your leap and your ascent to absolute world class. Okay, now back to the episode. And then the final piece of magic was, I was on the red eye, so going to the airport, and I was with this Uber driver who was taking me to LAX. And again, as I was walking to the Uber, I just smiled, and I could see through the windshield as I was leaving the lobby of the hotel, I could see him smiling back at me. And as I got into the Uber, he was incredibly polite, and I noticed he had pressed jeans, a shirt that I could tell showed his pride, and polished cowboy boots. Polished cowboy boots. This was a man who cared about his job, cared about his appearance, cared about his reputation and his good name, because you can't put a price tag on the value of your good name. So as I got into the Uber, I said, I think I am with a really professional Uber driver. And he smiled and he started talking, and he says, you know, I drive a lot of celebrities. I don't even need to mention who he drives, but he said, and they always ask for me and they always enjoy me driving them. And I say, why? And he said, well, I have this, and here's what I've done, and I've got other businesses, and I've raised a family, and I came here with no money, and my daughter is a gynecologist, and he said, I've got the greatest wife. You know, she just takes such good care of me, and I'm really blessed, and I teach my friends how they should treat their partners. And we got into this, well, it wasn't a conversation. I mean, I always want to be honest with you, it was a monologue, but I just listened, and I listened, and I listened, and I probed, and I laughed, and it was just, I've realized you can really connect with someone just by listening. And by the time he dropped me off at LAX, we'd spent 45 minutes together. He gave me my bags, and he looked me in the eye, and then he reached over to shake my hand. So it was really great talking to you. And I kid you not, he gave me this, he went for it, and he just gave me this awkward, amazing hug. And even as I share this message with you, you know, I'm moved because there is such good in the world. And there is such magic inside of people. And if you can access your own primal glory, by doing the things I teach you in the 5 a.m. Club and my other mastery episodes, and you do it with real sincerity, and you do it with real commitment. I mean, commitment sounds like a simple word, and I hear a lot of people, well, I tried joining the 5 a.m. Club, or I tried running the 2020 formula the 20-20-20 formula that you teach, or I tried your leadership philosophies, and it's hard. Well, you know, world class isn't an easy sport. You know, being an NBA champion is hard. Being someone who builds a high impact business is hard. Building a beautiful relationship with those you love is hard. Mining your genius is hard, but it's the best work you'll ever do. And so anyway, I hope this episode has been helpful to you, and I want to remind you that you can rule the world. And you can enter Mr. Riley's magic. And it does exist. It's pretty much a secret order that only a lot of the great artists and geniuses and humanitarians and world changers have entered. But I experienced it. Just an ordinary person, such as myself, who comes from very humble beginnings, I entered the magic just by doing a few things that some of which I've shared with you. And I do believe that is how you rule the world in your own unique way. You access your humanity, you access your generosity, you access your civility, you access your caring, you access the best within you. And that's not weak. It takes incredible strength to not be contracted, but to open up and to be vulnerable, real, alive, sincere, genuine to another human being. And if you do that, you not only will experience the kinds of things I experienced in Los Angeles on the weekend, your clients will fall in love with you. Strangers on the street will never forget you. Teammates will adore you. Your family will be mesmerized by you. And here's the thing I'll leave you with. The concept of self-faithfulness. By living in such a way and leading in such a way, you'll be faithful to who you truly are, which is the primary relationship that determines every other relationship. Love is the starting point to world class. And you've never heard me say that before, but the way you are in the world is a deep reflection of the way you are with yourself. You know, your prosperity and your income is always a reflection of your self-identity. Your daily behavior is always a reflection of your deepest beliefs. You're not going to go out in the world and represent your highest creativity, productivity, and mastery if you hate yourself. You're not going to be kind to people on the street, smile at strangers, uplift a teammate, wow a customer if you're full of hatred about who you truly are. And I think this is one of the missed ideas and one of the missed truths in the world today. The doorway to success really does open inward. It doesn't open outward. And I've seen so many people, even some of the people I coach, you know, these people, they learn the intellectual ideas to build an empire. And I also teach them how they multiply productivity. And I also teach them how do you scale your fortunes and build a life of joy, peace, beauty, and freedom. And yet some of them, here's what they do. They tear it all down. We get to these amazing results through our coaching together, and they hit an inflection point where they start to self-sabotage. Maybe they start to drink too much. Maybe they start to be rude to the people on their team. Maybe they start to pick fights with their significant other. Maybe they start to get too distracted by digital media, and they start to tear it all down. It is a huge act of self-sabotage, and I've seen it for so many years working with the best of the best. Why does that happen? Well, it happens because you will never rise any higher than the way you see yourself on the outside. If you don't feel you are deserving of beauty, prosperity, acclaim, fame, fortune, impact on society, if you don't really feel you deserve it because you feel like you're not enough, you really don't like yourself, you're suffering from what psychologists call imposter syndrome, then you're going to read the books, you're going to watch these mastery sessions, you're going to go to the courses, you're going to do the work, but you are going to reach a point where your mindset becomes in conflict with your heart set. If you don't know these four interior empires I'm always talking about, mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set, read about them and learn about them in the 5 a.m. Club, my latest book. But the larger point is simply this. Think about this idea of self-sabotage. And it all comes from a lack of self-love. You know, if as a child, you didn't receive appreciation from your parents, if as a child, you might have received physical love or physical caring, but that heart set need, that need for love and appreciation, that need for human validation, if you didn't get that from your parents, or you didn't get that from your teachers, or you didn't get that from your early influences, well, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be suffering, and I use the word intentionally, you're going to be suffering from these heart set wounds of neglect, emotional neglect. And you're not going to like yourself very much. And especially in this
culture of comparison, those wounds are going to be activated every single day. You're going to walk out in the world and you're going to look at your device and you're going to see all these people showing you a highlight reel of the lives they want you to think they're living. Most of it's just an illusion. I was reading recently, there is actually a service where you can rent a jet on a runway, and for 20 minutes you can go to the runway and get a photographer to take pictures of you on a private jet, and outside of the private jet, like this, right? And you get to post it on social media. And you can hire photographers to take you to all these luxury brand stores where you're outside of a luxury brand store and you're like, outside of the luxury brand store, maybe even if you can't afford the watch or the purse or the shoes or whatever it is. What is the point I'm suggesting to you? Everything begins within. If you don't love yourself, then you're going to go out into the world. And in this culture of showbiz, this culture of bling, this culture of comparison, this culture of social media gratification, you're going to get activated. You're going to get pinged. Those ancient wounds are going to get touched on every single day, and you're just going to be miserable. And so 4 truths to help you grow self-love so that you build that inner warrior in this place of peace and this huge well of tranquility that cannot be disrupted when you go out into the world is what is really mission critical, right? You want to be so strong in your skin, so strong in your luminosity, so strong in your relationship with who you truly are that nothing in the outer world can activate you and diminish your energy and make you feel not enough. You know what Eleanor Roosevelt said, my friend? No one can insult you without your permission. You know what Oscar Wilde said? He said, be yourself. Everyone else is taken. You know what Warren Buffett once said? There can never be a better you than you. You know what Jack Welch said when he was at GE? Do not lose yourself on the way to the top. So let me walk you through 4 specific truths that will help you grow self-love. Number 1, honor your specialness. Honor your specialness. Look, we've got billions of people on this tiny planet, and yet there is no other person alive today quite like you. No one quite like you. The gifts that you have. No one quite like the way that you talk. No one has the same fingerprints. No one walks exactly in the same way as you. No one has the same hopes and dreams as you. No one has had the same sufferings that you have. No one has become precisely the same person that you are. No one has the same potential you have. No one has exactly the same primal genius that lurks at your core. That makes you special. Now, I'm not suggesting that you fall into what I call RAM syndrome. WRAM, world revolves around me. Look, I'm so special, I'm entitled. I'm so special, world, give me a great living. I see that all over the world. We live in this society of great entitlement. People don't want to show up early. People are not committed to mastery in all cases. A lot of people are like, give to me, and they become takers from their organizations and their marketplaces and their society versus understanding you get from the world what you give to the world. But the point on this first truth is honor your specialness, appreciate who you are. There is no one quite like you. The second truth to grow self-love is to do hard things daily. And I want you to think about this one really intimately right here, right now. When you get up every day, are you on the path of least resistance? What is this love we all have in this world we live in of things needing to be easy? Society has sold us a bill of goods. Everything should be easy. We should transform our health with one quick pill. A great relationship should happen in a month. And if we don't have a magical relationship, if we're not all in love and wonder, then we should leave the relationship. If we're at a job, anything that's worth doing is challenging at first. And if we're at a job, after 3 months, if it's not the job of my lifetime, we leave it. In a relationship, if it's not perfect, we leave it. if we want to upgrade our health. Oh, I've been at it 2 weeks. Oh, you know what? It's really hard. I need to stop my journey to world-class fitness. What's my point? My point is simply this. Anything great you will ever do in your life is hard. And so are you living every day? Let me ask you right now, in this moment, I am blessed to share with you. When you get up in the morning, when you go through your day, when you construct your evening routine, is it all around the path of least resistance? Is it all about pleasure? Is it all about fun? Is it all about, are you a master of easy? Or are you doing what the very few do on the planet today? As you know, one of my core brain tattoos is to have the results 95% of the population do not have. You've got to commit to doing what only 5% of the population are willing to do. And what the titans do, what the virtuosos do, what the exceptionalists do, they build their days around the pursuit of difficult things. And if you do that, here's what happens. You're going to build momentum. And if you do that, each day will be a platform for growth. But even more importantly, how do you build self-respect? It's by doing difficult things. When you say, I'd like to watch a video in the evening or my favorite TV show, but tonight I commit to spending time with my child who wants my attention and who needs me, you grow in self-respect. When you say, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m., I'm going to run this 20-20-20 formula that Robin teaches and that has literally helped millions of people upgrade their morning routine and their energy, productivity, creativity, impact, you grow in self-respect. When you say, I'm not going to coast through my day, today I'm going to do something that's going to give me a micro win so my work and my craft gets a little better, you grow in self-respect. If each day you do difficult things and make these daily optimizations each day through the doing of micro difficulties, you build greater self-respect. And as you build greater self-respect, you fall in love with yourself. It's a great way to build self-love. I mean, one of the tactics to remember is, how do you grow self-love? You consistently make and then keep self-promises. Which brings you and I to the third truth to grow self-love. Go to the woods. Go to the woods. We spend so much time in the noise of life, we forget about the signal. We spend so much time in the frenzy of society, we forget about who we truly are. I'm challenging you with great love and respect. Don't just be a producer, be a philosopher. Don't just be out into the world, go to the wilderness. We are animals, we need to retreat, but also, at our core, we must spend time in solitude. For years, I've been teaching a philosophy, the 3S philosophy. Solitude, silence, and stillness. Solitude, silence, and stillness. In this world right now of such digital distraction, such social media comparison, such busy being busy. We wake up in the morning, sometimes there's so many emails, so many notifications. We must make the time to go to the woods, physically or metaphorically. And when you find that time to practice the 3 S's of silence, solitude, and stillness, here's what happens. You remember who you truly are. You remember your priorities. You can build intimacy and fluency with your primary relationship. And the primary relationship, I suggest to you who you truly are. You're not your past. You're not your weaknesses. You're not your false beliefs. You're not your hypnosis. You're not your genius betrayals. When you start to spend time alone in the woods, in solitude, in reflection, that's when you can say, I am not my wounding. I am not my hatred. I am not my insecurity. I am not my sorrow. I am not my fears. I am not my stumblings. You start to hear the quiet whispers of your greatest self. And you start to remember you are luminosity. You are a hero. You're not a victim. You're a leader. You have this goodness within you, this deep creativity within you, this great power within you that longs to see every day. And the more you spend time in the woods alone, remembering who you truly are, it's like any other relationship. You spend time with it, you nurture it, you grow it, you become aware of it. It gets stronger and stronger. And then you become this force of nature out in a world of so many people who have forgotten who they truly are. And you stand as an army of one, of possibility and leadership and strength. Fourth truth to grow self-love is simply this. The more people you help, the more love you'll grow. The more people you'll help, the more you will expand. If you really want to times 25 your self-love, times 25 your commitment to impact. You know, Mother Teresa said it really well. It's as you help more people, you love yourself even more greatly. And it's Martin Luther King Jr., and I'll paraphrase him. He said, you know, we all can be great. Because greatness is not about education. Greatness is not about your position. Greatness is not about your past. Every single day we all can be helpful. And so each day we all can become great. And so I found personally, the more I shift the focus off of any elements of fame, fortune, applause, getting more likes, and the more I obsess and make it this monomaniacally driven mission that doesn't come from the ego, that comes from servanthood to help more people through the information I share in the world, the more joy I see in my own life. The more I pursue helpfulness, the more peace I feel your demons, because the closest you get to your finest work, the more your fears will come out to play. And so see producing your Taj Mahal as an act of self-mastery. And then whether you create a Taj Mahal or not, you've already won. Trust the craft, trust the process. And I don't know about you, but when I write, I don't write perfectly the first time. I think a good writer is a good editor. It's an important thing to consider as well. And so sometimes people I work with wonder, why are you writing it, rewriting it 30 times, 40 times? This new book I've rewritten over 20 times. Why are you doing that? Why, you're so demanding to push yourself to keep on writing it like that. It's good enough. Well, good enough is not very good. But also, most people don't understand the standards you and I hold ourselves to. So they want to push the work out. We want to change the world. Next one I'd share is make fresh tracks. Well, I used to be a skier. I don't ski that much anymore, but I used to be a skier. And one thing skiers love is fresh tracks. It's to be the first person down you get up early on a ski day just to be the first person to go up the lift and down the mountain so you get fresh tracks. Pristine powder snow, and you're going down in the fresh tracks. Same thing when it comes to our jobs, our craft. Do not go where everyone's going. Our job, your job, is to take your field where it's never gone, to make fresh tracks. And today I've wondered, have I made a mistake? Have I failed? Did I overreach? Did I try to do too much? Is there too much in there? Is there too little in there? And I think that's part of being an artist. You never know if you got the work right, and you have to just trust that you gave your best. Final thing I'd say is exhaustion is a success symptom. I'm tired right now. Almost to the day I've been at this for a year. Hours, almost every single day. When I felt like it, or whether I didn't feel like it, I sat down and I got to work. Yes, I took days off, but I've been tired for a lot of this. And what I'm suggesting with this idea that exhaustion is a success symptom, you know you have gone all in, given your mindset, heart set, health set, soul set, every molecule of your commitment to serve and push your craft to the jagged edges. You know you've done that when you're spent, when you're exhausted, when you don't want to read another book and you don't want to learn another new idea and you don't feel like working out and you just feel like eating pizza because you're craving the carbs for comfort. That's because you've given everything to your craft. It's not a symptom of wrong, it's a symptom of mastery.